name is Rich Clark and I'm as a guide to the right path, and I've been a holistic therapist for 14 years and a hypnotherapist, psychotherapist and CBT therapist for over 8 years. So I'm going to talk for fears and phobias Friday. I'm going to talk about this phobia, what people suffer with. It's called hemophobia, is the fear of blood. So simply explained, hemophobia is the extreme fear of blood, elicits a phobic reaction from the sufferer individual at the sight of blood which may or not be their own. Often there is confusion between hemophobia and the fear of needles. A person may be afraid of having their blood drawn, which can be mistaken for trypanophobia, for the extreme fear of needles. In fact, this common specific phobia is actually categorised broadly as blood injection injury phobia. Unlike other specific phobias, the fear of blood leads to some rather different symptoms which shall be covered later in another video about the fear of needles. First though, let's study the causes of hemophobia. And the fear of blood is very much also linked to operations and so forth. So the causes of the fear of blood phobia, as stated, there's a link between other phobias and the fear of blood phobia. The fear of needles phobia and hemophobia is one combination often seen in individuals. Some patients are known to display a phobia of dentists and doctors along with hemophobia. So in general, a fear of blood is triggered by the fear of the field of medicine, as it's often related to the blood injections, injury, pain, and even worse of all, death. TV and movie images can also contribute to this fear. Halloween culture, gory bloody movies, serial killer murder stories have also been known to cause this phobia. Bleeding is often a signal, a sign or indication that there is something wrong with the body, hence hypochondriasis or nosophobias are also linked to hemophobia. Hypochondriasis and nosophobiia are both characterized by the fear of falling sick or developing specific diseases such as like cancer, diabetes, etc. The fear of germs or mysophobia, which is the fear of dirt and uncleanliness, and also can trigger hemophobia since the individual is afraid of catching germs from someone else's blood. Also, the fear of blood is also linked to the fear of death, phantophobia, and the sight of blood often causes the individuals to faint. They may experience embarrassing themselves by fainting, which is actually the body's defence response to protect itself from the further stress. As with other phobias, the fear of blood can be brought on by a negative or traumatic event experienced within childhood. So all of them, phantophobia, the fear of death, there's a video on that. Mysophobia, the fear of germs, there's a video on that on my channels on YouTube and so forth. And also there is others as well, which is linked to the fear of death, fear of God, and fear of the unknown. So symptoms of hemophobia, as stated above, as stated before then, is hemophobia brings on rather different symptoms than those brought on by specific phobias. The similarities with other phobia symptoms are either anxiety, nausea, increased heart rate, sweating, trembling, or shaking at the sight of blood. This is followed by a sudden drop in blood pressure and heart rate that leads to the individual to faint, become pale or weak, which are not seen in other phobic reactions. So it's more of a physical reaction, not so much a mental. So the physical and mental also work together, quite cohesively combined. Fainting occurs because the brain does not receive adequate enough blood supply. Fainting or having a panic attack can be an embarrassment to the individual who then tries to avoid seeing blood at all costs. Hemophobics not only fear seeing their blood or that or others, but in some cases they may even have an anxiety attack upon seeing blood of animals. So that's why sometimes with people when they become vegetarian and vegan is they don't like the sight of blood. You actually have that with children sometimes when they've seen blood of an animal come through or see it on the television, they can then have a fear of not wanting to eat animals. The phobia can sometimes consume one to the degree that it interferes with their daily life. The sufferer might refuse to visit a doctor or a dentist or even see printed pictures of movies involving blood, and this may lead to a sedentary lifestyle in order to avoid sports-related injuries or fitness injuries. The treatment for overcoming the fear of blood phobia. Well, there's a couple of things here. Experts recommend the opposition of relaxation techniques, breathing techniques, which is the same as what we would do with anxiety issues, which are usually suggested for overcoming other specific phobias. In this method, rather than relaxing, the individual is asked to squeeze his large muscle groups into tense knots in order to prevent himself from fainting. This technique is especially helpful for patients who faint at the time of getting an injection. One of the major side effects of hemophobia is depression or anxiety. So a mental health practitioner can help provide a solution to overcome these conditions. Hemophobics are often encouraged to generally expose themselves to certain events or sports. So we talked about exposure therapy, I've spoken about this many times, or ERP. And these are potential areas where blood may be present. This can also help one slowly get comfortable with their fear, behaviour and cognitive behaviour therapies, as well as hypnosis and talk therapies can help hemophobics lead a normal life. So as a CBT practitioner and hypnotherapist, what we would do, we'd probably do exposure therapy, and what we would also do is change the mindset of that when we see blood, or the actual fear of blood, is actually then reframe that to why the first time they ever saw blood, were they frightened of it or got anxiety or caused them to faint. And then that psychosomatic issue is then we work with that within the mindset, reprogram that and change that. So if you have a fear of blood, or you know anybody who has a fear of gore or so forth, and they would like to get over it, please contact me on www.richclark.net, and this will be that you will do a first call. It's a discovery call which is free. We find out the issues that you have. I would be able to give you techniques if you didn't want to work with me carrying on, but if you do, then obviously we'd work out a program to get over this, and then within that we can also teach different techniques to actually help you with calming your body down, to help you with your fears and phobias. So until next time, speak to you soon.